Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and super pleased to have Kandi Mossett back with us. She's a Native Energy and Climate Campaign organizer with the Indigenous Environmental Network. IENEarth.org is the website. You can find an action near you today that way. And you can tweet at MHAWEA or at IENEarth. Kandi, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Thanks for joining us. I'm hearing all kinds of stories out of Standing Rock. I heard that the tribal elder, Dave Archibald, as I recall, is saying, don't come right now, get active in your local community. On the other hand, I've heard that a lot of people are going there. But the warning is, look out. The police are going to be militarized. They're going to be charging people with felonies. Horrible things might happen. What's going on? What is the status of Standing Rock?
Yeah, so as you can about imagine, given that the Army Corps did grant the easement to drill, the entire community is experiencing the reaction in different ways. And so David Archambault is the tribal chairman, and the call has been for national actions to defund DAPL, to continue taking money out of the banks, and to continue ensuring that as this project moves forward under the Trump administration, people are still making this project not feasible. Last night, I was getting reports and pictures of drilling commencing, starting at around 5:15 Central Time last night. Drilling meaning that they have to drill the hole and bore underneath the Missouri. And anytime, I think that the company itself estimated that the oil could be flowing through the pipe, if all goes their way, within 83 days. The tribe, however, is fighting back in legal measures, and so they are suing the company. They are suing, they're first going after a temporary restraining order and injunction, so a TRO, and that would halt the construction effectively if a judge were to grant a TRO. And still continuing to push for the environmental impact statement, which is something that started under the Obama administration, and then the Trump administration came in and said, nope, just kidding, we're not going to do an environmental impact statement, even though thousands and thousands and thousands of comments were already submitted. And so the urge is to call the Army Corps of Engineer offices and say, you are not above the law. This type of environmental impact statement is to ensure that when a leak should occur, everybody downstream, which is 18 million people, would understand the impacts. Specifically, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe right there would understand the impacts of a leak. And that is why an environmental impact statement, rather than just an environmental assessment, is so important. And so the reason the chairman is not calling people to come back is because it's been very cold, and the Army Corps of Engineers has already said that they're giving anybody in the camp until February 22nd before they have, I guess, once again said they're going to move in. If you'll remember, this happened back December 5th, too, when the campers were given an ultimatum. So people are continuing to come in a last-stand effort against the drilling processes that are happening on the ground right now, probably as we speak, and other people are taking action in their own communities to make the whole entire thing not profitable. And if you were watching, the Seattle City Council did approve unanimously in a 9-0 vote to divest from the Wells Fargo Bank, and that was a $3 billion blow to Wells Fargo, which sent a message that banks funding this project are going to continue to be under attack.
Yeah, and I have to say, I had an account with one of the big banks that I closed yesterday, and I went in and I told the vice president of the bank, I mean, he's just a local guy, he gets a fancy title, but and he, and, you know, why? And he said, I'll pass this up the food chain. I also back in January, on January 5th, there was a text. A number or an address or something that you could text to get on the text list for DAPL or for no DAPL. And they posted, and I got a text back on January 5th that said, call the Army Corps, tell them to start the EIS process. We'll stay vigilant until they do. And they gave a phone number. I don't know if that's still good. But they've given it out twice. They did it again on January 24th. And if that number is good, I'll give it out on the air here. And then the text I got from them yesterday at 4:33 said, Trump says Dakota Access Pipeline wasn't controversial. Let's show him these lies won't fly. March on D.C. with us on March 10th. Now, am I getting the right texts from the right people, and is this stuff all accurate?
You are. Those are accurate. Share the number. I believe it's a 202 number. It's an Army Corps number. This Trump administration is acting above the law and outside of the law. To completely turn off and change the decision of an EIS that's already started is actually unheard of. There's a lot of things that are unheard of with this Republican-led administration. And the Republicans need to step it up because this is their ball is in their court. And as far as I'm concerned, all of the things that are happening are because of a Republican-led administration that's not telling this Trump person that he is acting outside of the law, taking total disregard, lack of disregard for treaty rights, violations of human rights. All of these things that occurred didn't just disappear because we had a new president. In fact, they're being amplified. We have more police on the ground at Standing Rock. And if people don't know, a lot of the cases are being tried right there in North Dakota. And people in the first round, 8 people were found guilty for very crazy charges as a result of not being able to get a fair trial. None of these court cases should be being held in the state of North Dakota. And so the Legal Defense Fund still needs a lot of help too. We have over 700 arrestees now. And you're looking at probably just enough for around 3,000 or 4,000 per person, which is not nearly enough to pay for all of the legal costs, the traveling back and forth, all the court cases. So we're still asking people to donate to the Legal Defense Fund, the Water Protectors Legal Defense Fund.
How do they do that?
There's a website that you can go to. There's a Facebook page you can go to, Water Protectors Legal Defense Fund. If you Google that, it'll also bring it up as well. I should grab my computer here, but that is what people keep asking. What can we do? How can we continue to help in this fight? Those are the most important ways. There's going to be a march in Washington, D.C. on March 10th. We were going to take everybody to D.C. and show them, hey, we're still here. This issue is not over. And I think people really need to understand the big picture, too. There's still fracking in the Bakken, where this oil is coming from. The Dakota Access Pipeline is a symptom of that larger problem of the fracking that's occurring. And what Trump is doing is effectively pitting all of these different pipelines against each other, even though the levels of oil that are being produced are going down, creating something bad to come in the future.
Yeah, not to mention that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying that's what he's doing. He's creating.
Not to mention the damage it's doing to our environment. I mean, our planet is melting down. The Arctic is melting. Everything from microscopic species to polar bears to the humans who are living in the north of 60 degrees latitude are experiencing a crisis right now. The Arctic is 30 degrees Celsius, like 50 degrees warmer than it's Fahrenheit than it's supposed to be or normally is. All largely because of fossil fuel burning here around the world, and this just adds to that. By the way, the phone number that was texted to me by the No DAPL folks was 844. This is a toll-free number, 844-331-6920 to reach the Army Corps of Engineers. And
please do, because they need to be held accountable too for changing their minds, even though they've been given pressure. And the pressure is coming from this president, who is in a Republic-led office, but they are actually being led by the industry. If you look at who's making the shots, who's making the calls, it's people like Kelsey Warren, and one step above that, it's people like the Koch brothers that have interest in the oil industry. These oil giants are now practically running the country as Donald Trump continues to be their talking head and pushing their agenda. It's no secret that he is a climate change denier, that he was given money by Kelsey Warren as he was running for his campaign.
Who's Kelsey Warren?
All he's doing. Kelsey Warren is the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners, which is the company that is building the Dakota Access
Right.
Pipeline.
I understand he owns stock in the company as well.
That's right. He owns stock. It's completely unheard of. And Donald Trump, should be taken for crimes against humanity and for having vested interest in these kind of things.
Yeah.
If we don't want this country to continue to be run by the Koch brothers, who have nothing but fossil fuel interests, we have to continue to defund these projects. It doesn't just stop here because this easement was granted. We've braced ourselves for this since November, since the elections,
right,
when we found out that this was going to be not only a Republican-led party, but a Donald Trump Republican-led party. And over the next maybe 4 years, we'll see. Any president has a mandate to listen to what their people are saying. And loud and clear, the people are saying they do not want these energy projects. He's not listening to the American public as president.
And Kandi, all these people, these thousands of people who've been arrested at Standing Rock, they're all facing felony charges, are they not? I mean, we're talking multiple years in prison if they can't get a good defense, and most of them can't afford pretty much any defense at all. Do I have that right?
Right.
So at your website, at ienearth.org, as in Indigenous Environmental Network, ienearth.org, do you have a link to where people can donate money to help out?
Yes, we have links on our website. You can also go to indigenousrising.org. Indigenous Rising is our more specific campaigns when we're working on different things that are happening throughout Indian country. So that's indigenousrising.org. You can go to the various links that are posted and let people continue to contribute to the Legal Defense Fund, because these cases are continuing over the next several months, maybe even years, as people are looking at years in prison. I mean, for being a water protector,
yeah,
it's insane. It's unheard of. There are people that have children. A lot of the people, including myself, that went to Standing Rock to fight back, have kids, the little kids. My daughter's 3. What's going to happen if these people go to prison?
Yeah, no, it'll be a disaster. I mean, this is, and what astonishes me, Kandi, we're talking with Kandi Mossett. She's the Native Energy and Climate Campaign organizer with the Indigenous Environmental Network, EINearth.org. The thing that amazes me, Kandi, is how little coverage this is getting in the corporate media. Any idea why?
Well, that's because the Koch brothers control the country right now, and they're going to do everything they can to provide their own propaganda. There are going to be all kinds of ads and commercials coming out about jobs and how great these jobs are, without any regard for the fact that there are no jobs on a dead planet. And the president right now is pushing for some number of thousands of jobs between the Keystone XL pipeline and the Dakota Access Pipeline, but he's not telling the American public the truth. There's going to be anywhere between 60 and 80 permanent jobs, and I'm being generous in saying 60 to 80 permanent jobs between both of those pipelines.
No, I agree. And the union leaders of the pipe fitters and steel welders or whatever they are, you know, there's a couple of union leaders who popped in with Donald Trump and endorsed this. They are, in my opinion, just, traitors to the cause. I realize it's strong language, but I get it that they're supposed to represent their people, and they do want jobs. And if you want jobs, let's work for, card check for everybody. There's a lot of ways to create jobs in America, short of destroying the planet and breaking treaties. So,
but the most important thing, people cannot get stuck in apathy. People cannot say this is just the way it is and go about your everyday life. People right now across the world need to stand up and push back in whatever way makes sense for them in their communities. You can go to your city councils, tribal councils, if that's what it is, state representatives, and tell them that you are not happy with a situation. Don't just sit there and complain about it. Don't just talk to your friends about it. Don't go on Facebook and complain about it. Go to the legal system. Go to the representatives that represent your city, your town, your community, your state, and continue making calls to the White House. Continue sending letters.
And call for more divestment as well. Kandi Mossett.
Defundapple.org.
I'm sorry?
Defundapple.org. It
Thank
shows
you.
you the 17 banks and how to divest.
Okay, great. Kandi Mossett, thank you very much, Kandi. Great talking with you. We'll be right back.